Hi, I'm Barry. Continuing on with our marble theme, we're going to now create some Sienna marble, which is something like this one that we've got over here. You can't quarry this marble anymore, so if you do need to, if the customer does want this in their home, then again we're going to have to recreate it as part of a special finish. We've got our talented carpenter here, Neil at Lucas, and he's created these elliptical shapes, so we're going to be like a coffee tabletop if anything. And then if you just have a look underneath, all this is just MDF. So you could, any piece of furniture that you've got, you could actually create this finish. Okay, so what we've done, we've got a coat of primer, followed by a couple of coats of eggshell, and we've brought it up to a nice finish. Again, with it being a piece of marble, you're not going to get any brush marks in there. Again, that's why we've used the Lucas Pro Tools. Okay, so again, we've brought in Andrew Holland from Holland Finishes, and our expert marble engrainer, and he's going to just run through all the colours that we need just to create this, the first stage of a piece of Sienna marble. Right, so over to you.
Great, thanks Barry. We'll be using the same tools as we did with the Carrara marble, yeah. And we'll be using the same polyvine, and the only thing different that we'll be using is the colours. And we have Hansa yellow, that's an acrylic finish. Yeah. We have yellow ochre, we have raw sienna, we have burnt sienna, Payne's grey, and titanium white. And again, like with the Carrara, this is all water-based products. Yeah. It dries much quicker than the traditional oil, and we don't have the problems with it yellowing like we did with the traditional oil. So what we'll start with, Barry, we'll apply the polyvine scumble glaze. Yeah. To the surface, and we'll use one of these brushes, yeah, which is a Lucas brush.
It's a big surface to do, so it's going to be a bit of a challenge, but we'll give it a go.
We can apply this just like you would an ordinary water-based varnish, but we'll brush it out nice and thinly, Barry.
Right, so not too thick on this one?
Not too thick, and then that allows the paint colours to apply to the surface. Because it's quite a dark colour, we need a lot more colour on the surface than we did with the Carrara marble. Okay. Excellent. Right, now we've got the polyvine scumble glaze on there. That brush can go back in there, Barry. That'll be fine. And what we'll do now, we'll start applying these colours here. And we typically start with the lightest colour first. So we can use our smaller brushes. We'll just dip some paint into there, which is the scumble glaze. And then we'll use the yellow.
Quite a bit of yellow.
Yep, we can use plenty of that. And we can just we can start applying it to the surface. Yeah. And we can kind of just brush it on randomly. Don't worry about the brush marks at this point. And as painters and decorators, we always want a nice even finish, but when,
yeah, so it goes against the grain a bit, doesn't it?
It does, exactly that. So we've got some pale yellow on there at the moment. At the moment, it doesn't look very nice at all, but we kind of need that colour for later on to get varying tones of yellow ochre on the surface.
So just all over sort of mishmash.
Yep, you can blend that a little bit more together.
Top, yeah.
Yep, that'll be fine. Okay, Barry, now we've got that yellow, the pale yellow on the surface, we'll then go to the next colour, which is yellow ochre, which is that one there, Barry.
Just before we go into that, you'll see you've got yours is, it's like you've got a darker area at the top in the yellow.
That's right.
And then lighter at the bottom.
That's right.
And I've tried to sort of replicate that on here as well.
Yes.
What's the reason for that?
Good question. What I generally like to have is the darker colours. We'll be applying darker colours to the surface, and I always like to have slightly darker colours at the bottom of a panel. Mm-hmm. Just as kind of aesthetically it looks better that way, yeah, where you've got more weight at the bottom. And even with the veining, I'd like to have kind of darker veins going through the bottom. So what we'll do now, we'll use the yellow ochre, yeah, which is that colour there, and we'll just use the same brush. Okay. Because it's a stronger colour that we'll be using. What we'll do, we'll just fill in these spaces with some of this yellow ochre. We'll put some around the face, and then it's just randomly putting it on there. We don't need to cover the entire surface with this. We just want to fill in, having some kind of patch areas, and eventually we'll be creating some kind of lozenge shapes, and we'll be using the sea sponge to manipulate the paint and blend it all together. So at the bottom I'll put quite a lot more, like more
down in
ochre.
this bottom section.
Yes, yeah. Great, okay, that's a good start, Barry.
Yeah.
Right, what we'll do now, Barry, we'll go to the darker colour again,
Yeah.
which is the raw sienna.
Okay.
And we'll use the same brush again. And if it feels a bit sticky, you can always just, with these tubes, they're quite thick paints. Right, and then we'll just add some more colour to that. Doesn't look too dissimilar.
Are we going down
So the
sort
other
of like where we think it might just sit, or is it just a random all over?
Yeah, random all over. Probably not 100. We'll kind of probably be like 30–40% coverage
So
of
yellow
the surface area.
So the first yellow that we used, how much
Yes.
coverage is that going to be?
Probably about 80%.
Yeah.
What we'll probably do now, Barry, is we'll use the sea sponge.
Yeah.
We'll have it nice and damp like we did last time. And then we can just add a little bit of colour to that.
Any one of them, or?
Just what we've used the last, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. And then we'll just randomly dab it all over. And this will help to blend all the colours together. That's good.
Anything else?
What we'll do next, we'll use the hog hair softener.
Yeah.
And again, we'll use it at 90 degrees. And we'll just gently blend the colours together. And we can go in different directions, and that will help it to make it look cloudy. And I'll make a start in the middle here. And we can kind of go in different directions.
Mine?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we can blend it. It can be a little bit more aggressive there, Barry.
Yeah.
And you can kind of stipple this out a little bit.
Just where it's a bit too dark, you think, yeah?
Just so it's a little bit more blended. Yeah, that's fine. We've still got to manipulate the surface with a sea sponge. We've got different size sponges,
Yeah.
but it'll be absolutely fine. We just want to dab the surface and just create a bit of texture all over. And this just creates a bit of depth for us.
All over?
Yeah, all over, yep. This just creates a bit of depth for us, and it will take out some of the brush marks that you may have left. And it just helps to add a bit of moisture to the surface, which kind of keeps it open. And yeah, very good, Barry, that's good. That's all over, you're very good. And what we'll do now, we'll just use a badger hair softener.
Yeah.
Which again we'll use at 90 degrees. And the tips are very soft, and we can blend the colours and it will look even more cloudy.
Yeah.
And that's a really good background for us to then go to the next stage of doing the veining.
So this is just the first part, and then we're going to move into the veining afterwards then,
Yes,
yeah?
that's right. Great, so we'll just soften it all over,
Yeah.
90 degrees. Just be very gentle. You don't have to hardly touch the surface.
And, oh, I can see it now. It's taking away all those little faint brush marks I had.
That's right, yep.
Right, that's the first stage done in the Sienna marble. Come back to our next video to see how we put the veins in.